afternoon, depending on where you are in this world. This is Agent Lee with a brief update for STEAM. I wanted to share with you some of my cycle analysis for STEAM. Now, and then combine that with Elliott waves. I've already done all the labelings to save time. The gist of this is look how sideways it's moving. It's almost like a up and down with a lot of overlaps, as you can see. And when price moves sideways, the cycles can be identified a little more easily. And what I mean by that is this is first of all a weekly chart, semi-logarithmic chart. Why is it semi? Well, it's semi because only the y-axis is plotted on log, while the x-axis, the price axis, is plotted on log, and the y-axis is linear for time. That's why it's called semi-log. The reason to use semi-log is quite often when you have a large time range of very small price differences right next to a very large contrasting price range. That's very hard to see within a linear chart. For example, here, this is the linear chart. Very difficult to see the discrepancies within these regions. Thereby, by having it in a logarithmic plot, we can see those discrepancies a lot more easily. So having said that, I believe I'm going trough to trough, bottom to bottom. And if we go from here to here, it was 48 weeks. This was a left translated cycle. Left translated means the cycle occurs in the first half of the cycle. If you draw a big dome across this, or a big arc, this peak occurs prior to the middle of the arc. Now left translated is bearish because it spends very little time going up and spends most of the time going down. The next cycle took 36 weeks. Okay, this was about midpoint, let's say, so about neutral on the peak occurrence. The cycle bottom 48 to 36 weeks is an acceptable range. Then we had another peak, left translated again, bearish, and that took 56 weeks. Now the key question here is this the bottom of the next weekly cycle low? I think it should be, because it was overdue. What do I mean by that? Well, we only have 2 data points on a weekly perspective with a range of 36 to 48 weeks. And this one way past the 48. So I think we're overdue. So that means that there is probably a greater than 50% chance that there could be a weekly cycle low that occurred right here. The most ideal confirmation will be if we attain and price exceeds 43 cents. Okay, we'll get back to it in a little bit. So having said that, if I then now add Elliott waves, I mentioned earlier how it's moving sideways with a lot of overlaps. And thereby this looks like a very large, wide, swinging 3-wave price action. So I've labeled this as an ABC. It's an expanded ABC. For that to be subways for a W. ABC, and that to be subways for X. ABC to be the subways of Y. Thereby we have W, X, and Y. Note how the W seeks out the major weekly low. The X seeks out the major weekly highs, and the Y is ensured to seek out the next major low. So what does this mean? If there is a high probability that a weekly low has been attained, then for the next 36 to 56 weeks, the price action for STEAM could be very bullish. It's not going to be a straight up vertical ascent. There will be ups and downs, ups and downs, ups and downs, just like you saw here. However, from a weekly cycle perspective, it bodes well for the next year, 6 months to a year or so, for the price of steam. All right, I hope you found it to be helpful. Have a wonderful day.